This is based on a true life story, so stay tuned, guys. This lady gave her lifetime savings of 30 million naira to her fiance, believing they were going to get married. What happened would shock you. Let's find out. When Adaobi, a hardworking and beautiful woman, met Chinedu at the friend's wedding 3 years ago, she thought she had finally found her soulmate. She ran a small catering business and had spent over a decade saving 30 million naira, hoping to buy a house and start a family. Chinedu seemed perfect. He was handsome, charming, and shared stories of how his late father had built a construction company from nothing. He said he wanted to make the business even bigger, and Adaobi believed him. They quickly became close, often talking about their future together, marriage, children, and a house of their own. Adaobi had no idea that Chinedu was hiding a terrible secret. One evening, Chinedu came to Adaobi looking upset. "Ada, I need your help," he said, his voice full of worry. "My company is in big trouble. Some contract fell through, and now we owe a lot of money. If I don't pay at least 12 million naira soon, I'll lose the business." Adaobi felt her chest tightened. She cared deeply for Chinedu, and she knew how much the company meant to him. "What can I do to help?" she asked. "Ada, if you could lend me the money you've been saving, I promise to pay it back as soon as things get better. We can still have our future together," Chinedu pleaded. Adaobi hesitated. This was the money she had saved for many years, but she loved him and trusted him completely. She believed that they were building a life together, so she decided to help him. "Okay, I'll lend you the money," she said, hoping she was making the right choice. Adaobi transferred the entire 30 million naira in her account to Chinedu's account the next day. For the first few weeks, he was thankful and reassured her that the business was improving, but as time passed, things began to change. Chinedu's calls became shorter and he seemed distracted whenever they talked. Adaobi noticed that he was avoiding her, and whenever she brought up their future plans, he would say, "Let's sort this out first." She started feeling uneasy, but she didn't know what was wrong. One day, her best friend, Ifeoma, asked her if she had seen Chinedu lately. "He hasn't been around much, has he?" Ifeoma said casually. Ifeoma and Adaobi had been best friends for years and shared everything, so Adaobi brushed off her concerns, not wanting to seem worried. "He's just busy with work," she replied, but deep down, Adaobi was starting to feel like something was off. Weeks later, Chinedu was still distant. Adaobi hadn't seen him for days, and he wasn't answering her calls. One evening, Ifeoma called Adaobi with a voice filled with excitement. "Ada, I didn't want to tell you earlier because I wasn't sure, but now I have to tell you. I'm getting married." Adaobi's heart skipped a beat. She was surprised, but happy for her friend. "Congratulations! Who is the lucky guy?" she asked, smiling. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line before Ifeoma said, "It's Chinedu. We've been seeing each other for a while now, and he proposed last week." Adaobi's smile vanished as her blood turned cold. "Chinedu," she whispered, her voice shaking. "You are marrying Chinedu?" "Yes," Ifeoma said quickly, as if sensing Adaobi's shock. "I'm so sorry I didn't tell you earlier, Ada, but it just happened so fast. I didn't want to hurt you." Adaobi felt like she had been punched in the stomach. Her best friend, her close friend, was marrying the man she loved, and she had just given him all her savings. "How long have you two been together?" she managed to ask. "For a few months now," Ifeoma replied softly. Adaobi's words shattered. That meant Chinedu had been seeing Ifeoma behind her back while asking for her money. She couldn't believe that the two people she trusted the most could betray her like this. Adaobi was heartbroken and furious. She needed to confront Chinedu. She drove to his house, but when she got there, she saw him and Ifeoma sitting outside laughing together. Chinedu's eyes widened when he saw Adaobi approaching, and Ifeoma's smile faded. "Chinedu, how could you do this to me?" Adaobi shouted, her voice trembling with emotion. "I gave you my savings to help you, and now you are here planning a wedding with my best friend?" Chinedu stepped forward, his expression turning from shock to guilt. "Adaobi, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for things to happen this way. I never planned to hurt you." "Never planned to hurt me?" Adaobi scoffed, tears streaming down her face. "You borrowed my money, lied to me about your business, and then you went behind my back to be with Ifeoma. You betrayed me." Ifeoma stood up, looking nervous. "Ada, please don't make this any harder. Chinedu and I are in love. It just happened. It just happened. Adaobi snapped, turning to Ifeoma. You were my best friend, Ifeoma. I trusted you. How could you keep this from me and then think I'll just accept it? Chinedu took a deep breath. Look, Adaobi, I'll pay you back the money. I just needed time, he said. You think this is just about the money? Adaobi yelled. You stole more than just my money. You stole my trust and my heart. The betrayal burned in Adaobi's heart for days. She knew she couldn't just let Chinedu and Ifeoma get away with what they did to her. She had to get back her money and her dignity. Adaobi started digging into Chinedu's business. She found out that his company had been struggling for a long time and the money he borrowed wasn't being used to save the business at all. Instead, he had been spending it on luxury items and gifts for Ifeoma. Armed with this information, Adaobi took legal action against Chinedu. She reported him to the authorities for fraud and presented proof that he had borrowed money under false pretenses. Chinedu was caught off guard when the police arrived at his door with a warrant for his arrest. Chinedu ended up facing charges for fraud and was forced to pay back Adaobi's money. His reputation was destroyed, and Ifeoma, who thought she was marrying a successful businessman, was left embarrassed and ashamed. She broke off the engagement, realizing that she had been used just as much as Adaobi had been. As for Adaobi, she took the 13 million naira and invested it into expanding her catering business. Her business grew bigger and better than before, and she became stronger, wiser, and more determined. She knew that she deserved more than what Chinedu had offered her, a life built on lies. Adaobi's experience taught her to be careful with whom she trusted. She had faced heartbreak and betrayal, but she came out of it even stronger than before. She learned to trust herself above all and knew that one day she would find someone who truly deserved her love. The end.